In my algebra classes, I like to start with an inspirational video because I feel like it does inspire me to do something better. So the key of this inspirational video is learning from your mistakes. So what I want you to do is I just want you to watch it, and sometimes it gets pretty intense. So just watch it and learn from it because I'm trying to teach you something with it, okay?
Because tomorrow, you want to be somebody greater than the person you are today. You see yourself succeeding, you have a vision, you have a dream. Congratulations. You're already 10 steps ahead of 95% of the world. Imagine if Michael Jordan was scared of missing. He would have never taken a shot. Imagine if Steve Jobs was afraid of people not liking his product. There would be no iPhone. So ask yourself this: do you want to be a person who fears failure, or do you want to be a person who loves success? Which one? Because you're going to have to pick today. And I'll tell you one thing: one is a failure and one is a success. And if you love success, there is nothing that can stop you. All those negative things people say will mean nothing. They're gonna talk about how only 1% make it to the top. Big deal. Wanna know something else? Only 1% stick with that fitness program long enough to see results. Only 1% of nerds stick with that video game long enough to get good at it. Only 1% of relationships stick it out to the end. That doesn't mean you have a 1% chance. It just means you can't behave like the 99%. You'll have to do something better than giving up a month from now. Those are just numbers. You want to talk about numbers? Take a look around you and take a good look around you. Are you like 99% of the people around you? If you are, then you're in the wrong video.
So I stopped it there because the video is 7 minutes long. But what I want you to understand is that just like he was talking about percentages and learning from our mistakes, just like Michael Jordan, which he's my favorite, you guys. I'm sorry, I know he's old and everything, and I know you guys like Kobe, but I like Michael Jordan. But anyways, what he's saying is that we got to learn from our mistakes, okay? We got to be better than that. If he never took the first shot, then imagine what would happen. The Chicago Bulls wouldn't have won all those 6, I think, series or basketball series. So what we want is that Michael actually practiced. He practiced a whole lot. And he got better, and that's what it is. We got to get better as we go along, right? So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a couple of hints on how to get better. So what we did is we analyzed your data, and I did the same thing with the teachers. And
you're here right now at this moment, because tomorrow...
Press escape.
Ah, there we go. Thank you for being patient, you guys. We should have gone to my room. Anyways. So what we did, you guys, is we took this data from your test and we wanted to learn. We wanted to learn, hey, what are we teaching you? How can we get better? And then we thought to ourselves, how can we share this data with you guys and see if you guys would get something out of it? So let me show you what we did. This is Ms. Shim's classes. Let me explain how it works. On the left side, you'll see the periods. And I'll make this bigger so you guys can see it. On the left side, we have the periods. Period 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And what we wanted to do is to see if all the periods were kind of acting the same way on this test. Because that would help Ms. Shim and myself to figure out, hey, did we teach it right? Can we make it better for them? What's going on, right? On the top, you see the numbers 1 through 14. Those are the questions. Okay? There were 14 questions on the IAB test, so we did this. We separated by periods, then we did this. And now you're wondering, what the heck are these numbers in the middle, right? Those are the percentages. So for example, and I'll give you a better view of this. For example, if I made it bigger here. For example, if I'm in period 1 and I looked at question number 1, my percentage there was 100%, which means that everybody got it. So when we look at that with Ms. Shim, we say, hey, that question was beautiful for you guys. We got it. We looked at period 3, 75% of you got it right. Those are still good numbers. You should be very proud. You should pat yourselves on the back We looked at the other periods. Period 2 was 95. Period 4 was 82. Period 5 was 76%. Does it make sense what we did? So we took the percentages. Here's question number 1. Here's question number 2. Period 2 had a little bit of an issue. Do you see how we start reading this? Here's question number 3. Ooh, what do you think the red means? Talk to each other. What do you guys think the reds mean? Go.
So you can use this as a laser.
Oh. How do you do it?
The middle button.
Oh. So what do you think the red means? Somebody, talk to me. Yes, sir.
The low percentage of people getting it right.
Yeah, the low percentage of people getting it wrong. So what do you think teachers did when we saw this? We're all like, oh boy, right? We did, oh boy. So what we did is we looked at question number 4, 27, 32, 29, 18, and 24. And you guys are period 3, you scored 29%. Ooh, it's right? For question 4, question 5, and then question 6. Do you see the red ones? And then we start going, exactly what some of you are doing. We did that. We were like, what happened? And we don't blame you. We kind of look at each other and say, hey, how could we have taught that better? Or what kind of mistakes you guys are making? And what we discovered, it was a little of both. It was a little bit of the teachers teaching it maybe in a different way, or you guys making some silly mistakes. So today is all about that. You're going to be my Michael Jordans, but I'm going to give you some hints. I'm going to be sort of like your coach. I'm going to give you some hints, so on the second test you get better. That's what today's about. So we're not going to give up. We're going to look at it. And don't be afraid of these numbers, because again, it's the practice test, right? On the state test, which is the final one, we're hoping that the advice we give you, my little Michaels, you will take it and get better at it and not give up. So then here's question 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Where do you think we messed up? Talk to each other. Go.
Question 14. Because that's like, I think that's the lowest number.
Yeah, I think so.
12 plus 13. Yeah. If you add all of them, I guess.
Number 8. Did you add them up all of them divided by
I think 14 is
All right, so do you notice? So we have some work to do on 12 and 14, right? We maybe have some work to do here, and then maybe some work to do on the number 8, right? So we looked at it, and we were like you. We didn't give up, though. We said, hey, this is just a practice test. It should give us some information, right? So that's what we're doing today. Then we did further analysis, you guys. We went further. You know how we're math girls? We kind of just love numbers, so we played around with all these numbers and said, what else can we find out? Oh, you don't want to see Miss Spotter for us. Yes, you do, but we're not going to show you. Actually, I'm going to tell you the same truth. What we discovered is that in Miss Spotter Forest class, the same numbers came up. The 4, the 5, the 6 questions, the 12, the 13, and the 14 at the end. So when we start seeing trends like that, it's like, oh boy, what happened with these questions? Where are they getting us? So then we go study the questions, which is what you guys are going to do today. And the interesting part, 7th grade, is because you're asking, wait, does this relate to us? It does, because I already analyzed 7th grade and it was the same numbers. So something's up with the lower end and the middle end of these tests. We're going to give you your score. Now, Michaels, you're not going to give up. You're not going to say, oh my gosh, forget it. There's the basketball. I don't want to play anymore. You're not going to give up. Because remember what I said, this is the practice test, and what I'm going to do today is give you some hints. Maybe how to throw the ball a little bit better, right? But we're talking about mathematics, because there's no way you see Miss Garcia 5'3" playing basketball, right? So think about that. So my expertise is math. Miss Shim's expertise is math. So we're going to try to give you some hints on how to get a little bit better. So do not get depressed when you get these. Learn from it. We got to learn from it. And no one's making fun of anybody here. We are learning from it. And I am glad that you didn't look and said, ha ha, look at period 5. They suck. I was glad. Thank you for being grown-ups and doing that. We did it in a 6th grade class, and they kind of did. Maybe because they're young. I don't know. But thank you for being respectful in that respect. So what you're gonna get is you're gonna get the sheet, and then we'll give you explanations on what it means. Sounds good?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
I'm gonna call your names. You can come up here and get it. Diego, Kyla, Aussie, Erica. Jasmine, Ivy, Eric, Sean. Aria, Anthony, Aldo, Leanna, and yeah, Fabian, Isaac, Gabby. This is Gabriella. This is me.
Why are you making that face? Don't make that face. Don't make that face. Come on.
Rochelle,
We're learning, right? This is not the main game.
Celeste, Jenna, Vince, Dylan, Charles, Mia, Brad,
We're working.
Jonathan, Sophia, Joshlyn, Lauren, Joseph, Emily. Lauren?
You ready?
Scratch paper. Do you want me to pass it out to you?
It's up to you if you want to.
It helped in first.
Yeah, it probably does help.
I'll do it now.
All right, so you get a little sheet, and I'm going to explain the scores to you so then that way you know what to read. Because just like I was trying to teach teachers, we got to learn how to read this, right? To us, it's just a number. So 7th graders, be ready because you're going to go through this process next year as well in my algebra class. So be aware of this. So in this practice test, it's called the IAB. Okay, in this practice test, it's a little different, you guys. This one only has 3 scores, or 3 levels. So you see the 3 levels. The 3 levels are above standard, near standard, and below standard. Why I'm telling you that this one's a little bit different because the state test has 4 levels. This one only has 3 levels. The real test at the end has 4 levels. So what they do is they grab that center area, this center area, and they make it a little bit wider, or they cut it off right here, and this becomes 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's how they grade it. Okay? But on this one, on the practice test, we have 3 levels. So the green level that you see here is the above standard. If you're in that green section, pat yourself in the back. But that doesn't mean you don't have things to learn. So be very open-minded, okay? The yellow area is called the near standard. And if you're that area, then we gotta work a little bit more to try to help you to get to this level. The red area, we gotta look for other resources to help you out. Whether it's tutoring or maybe videos online or something like that to help you out. Or to listen to me today to give you some hints on how to get better. If you are in the yellow area, the further you are to the green area or the right side, that's where you want to be. The further you are from the yellow area to the red area, then we don't want to do that. We want to get closer to it. Remember that the state test at the end has 4 sections. So we want to get closer to the green area as we possibly can. So if you look at your score should have a number. Your score should have a number, like a 28 something, right? So on a perfect score in an 8th grade classroom is a 2802. That's the magic number, 2802. Okay? So if you were in the 8th grade classroom and your level score range was between 2653 and 2802, you're in the green area. That's a 4 on the test. That's what you want, 7th graders, or else you don't get into the algebra class. Do you see that? So if you were close, like let's say you got a 2652, you go, dang it, man, 1 point away from what I wanted. So do you see why we're doing this? Because hopefully with the hints I'm going to give you, hopefully you start looking up at the levels or moving in the levels. So don't get upset right now. I don't want to see that. If you were between 2586 and 2652, 2504, 2585, those are the center areas. Understand? So that's what your scores mean. That's what your score is saying on your little paper. Wherever you see the little paper. Cool? How do we feel? We're okay? Gabby, we're okay? Why are you making that face, little girl? Don't do that. Remember, we're learning, right? We're going to have an open mind today. All right, so then we looked at your scores, we put the percentages in, and then we looked at the periods like this. And what we noticed is that above standard, period 1 had 23% of you guys. Period 2, 16. Period 3, 13% of you were hitting above the green section. Period 4, 9%. Period 5, 14%. Near are these numbers. So I'm hoping that these big numbers or these big percentages jump over here. How are we going to do it? Again, having an open mind today and learning from the advice we're going to give you guys. And then we got the below ones. That's not bad numbers, trust me. We're going to try to get these guys to jump here. And hopefully with the next test, we're going to jump them a little bit more. But again, the key here is to have an open mind and not quit on me. Cool? Are we good? All right. Any questions on your scores? Nobody? All right. So then we further analyzed. I'm telling you, the teachers just analyzed like crazy and said, hey, why are these guys getting question 4, 5, 6, 12, 13, 14 wrong? And this is when we're going to help you. And what we noticed is a couple of things. We noticed that some of the questions, if they were in green like this, they were easy. So now it starts to make sense that this number 1, remember 100% and everybody got pretty high percentages on this one? That was an easy question. Then we looked at question number 3. That was a medium question. So the orange ones were medium questions. And then we looked at 4, 5, and 6. And those are red ones because those were hard. So everything started to make sense. Those are the ones you guys got low percentages on. Well, we noticed that they were hard questions. Not only that, we noticed some of them were worth half a point. And what we noticed with the program is that if you didn't answer the 2 parts of the questions, they would mark you wrong for everything sometimes. So be aware of that stuff. Some of them were worth 2 points. Got it? And then we noticed something that, here's my first advice. Are you ready, Michaels? This is my first advice. Some of them had calculators. So on the top hand corner of the screen, you probably jumped into these problems and you didn't notice you had a calculator. So if I have a calculator, why would I not use it? So do me a favor, turn to your partner right now and think to yourself, did I use the calculator? Did I even look for the calculator on the test? Go.
I did. I didn't use it.
Yeah, I only used it a couple
Because I don't know why I don't use it.
At first I read it down.
Yeah, exactly.
I know when I use the calculator, I really
Exactly, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So do me a favor. How many of you use the calculator? Nice. So at least most of you use the calculator. How many of you did the work and then used the calculator? Okay, be honest. And again, no one's judging you here. How many of you didn't even know there was a calculator? Yeah. So now look at your scores and think to yourself, man, if I got that question wrong, could that calculator have made me go up a little bit more on the 2600 or whatever number you got? You think to yourself, right? So that's my first advice, Michaels. When you get on these tests, do not jump into the problem. Look at the screen. Go check to see if there's a calculator. It doesn't matter if you do your work on paper. That's beautiful. Do it. But then why don't have the calculator to help you out, right? So those people that were honest and said, I didn't use the calculator, is that good advice? Is that good advice for everybody? Yeah, that's good advice. So that's my first advice to you guys. So that's what we did. We looked at that and we said, okay, some of them might not be using the calculator. I'm thinking they might not be using the calculator. And then we went back and said, okay, that's our first advice to them. And if you remember, question number 4 was one of the questions we got low scores, right? So now watch. We went to the ones that we got low scores on. And I'm pretty sure Ms. Shim has copies of these problems. So then that way you can see it. And then I will tell you what I did with this problem and why we analyzed it. Ms. Shim, do we have copies of the problems for the students? Yeah. So she's going to give it to you. And then I want you to listen because here comes advice number 2. And now you're going to get to look at what a teacher does and be ready because on the next problem, you're going to become the teacher. You're going to tell me, what do you think the students overlooked if you were the teacher in class? And 7th grader, this is the type of question the 7th graders messed up on. So you should definitely listen. All right, so do me a favor. Talk to each other for just 30 seconds and tell me, what is the rule for exponents when the bases are the same and we're dividing? Talk to each other. Go.
Basically, a way to realize it is you do like it over, so it's 8 times 8 times 8 times 8. Wait, no, sorry. Yeah. Over 8 times 8, and then just cancel out. And then whatever number you have on the top.
Oh, you saw you always
Or how many 8s you have on the top of your head.
Why did you use it?
All right, ready? Somebody tell me if my bases are the same. If my bases are the same, yes? And I'm dividing, what is my rule with the exponents? Can somebody help me out, please? Anybody? Nobody? Come on, guys, we're learning from our mistakes. What do I do? Sir in the back, what do I do?
Subtract.
I subtract what?
The top exponent from the bottom.
I subtract the exponents, right? So, guys, what's 5 minus 2?
3.
So you got it. So the problem wasn't that hard, right? So how come we had such low percentages on number 4? And then as teachers, we started discovering what it was. When, again, 6th and 7th grade made the same mistakes. When there's a problem like this and it says Adam, Alana, Christy did this work, yeah? What we notice is for some reason students have a hard time trying to follow this. You know the answer, the question is easy, but for some reason you miss the error that Alana, Adam, Christy, whoever the problem's about, because you go really fast through it. So here comes suggestion number 2, or advice number 2. Whenever you see a name that says Adam did this, Alana did this, Kyla did this, whoever it is, right? Whoever it is did this, and you see their work, I want you to try to figure out a way to cover it and do it on your own. And you'll see what I mean. So on my side, I'm going to go ahead and follow your instructions. Here's my problem. You guys told me when the bases are the same and I'm dividing, I'm going to subtract those exponents, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract them and go 5 minus 2. And then it equals what? 3. So then my answer becomes 8 to the 3rd. So you guys did beautiful. But now look, if I was solving this problem, I solved it already, I know what's going on. Now I go to Adam and I think to myself, okay, he wrote the problem. Look at your sheet. He wrote the problem. Are we good there? Okay, so look, I already have a foundation. I know he wrote the problem. Now look what he did. 8, 5 minus 2. Did he do a good job there? Yeah, because just like me, he subtracted. That was good. Wait a second. Well, then that's when your brain should go, wait, why did he put 8 to the first power? And then you look at your work and you say, well, I didn't do that. Was that necessary to put 8 to the first power? no, there was no reason for him to do this. So then your red light goes, wait, that's probably where he started making the mistakes. Then he went 8 to the third. Yeah, I got 8 to the third, but did he get confused with that one and write it down again? And then look what he did. At the end, 3 minus 1 is? So where did he make his first mistake? Unless you solve the problem first, it's very hard to see somebody else's work. Yeah? So second advice, do the problem, then go analyze it. Look at the problems. Which one do you think is the answer? Talk to each other. Go.
Step 2, he put 1 to the 8, which caused him to have to subtract the 1 from the 3, which got him to 8 to the second.
I don't get what it means.
Yeah.
Denomination should be 1. I don't get that.
But it's just because I think it's
Yeah, but like, why would it? So you're saying that the denominator should be 1 instead of 8, or? Like, you know how it says 1, so you don't have to take over 8 over 8 or whatever. So is it saying replace the bottom 8 with a 1?
yeah, because then remember if you were going to say
Oh, 8 divided by 8 equals
it's
1.
so it'd be the same thing.
Well, why would it?
Okay.
Oh, because it's a 4. Okay.
It's the how many times it goes in there.
Yeah.
It's a number, so it would go.
So, because exponents, because like pentax, isn't it kind of like that? So exponents, I guess you can subtract those. And you have to, don't try to divide 8 divided by 8, and then get 1. So it'll be 8 over 1 to the power, no.
No, it would be 8 to the power 3 over 1 because.
All right, so let's talk about it real quick. The other thing, here comes the next advice, because the question is asking which statement describes a step and error Adam made in the step. You gotta be careful because 2 of those choices are errors he made. But the actual answer to this one is B. Why do you think the answer to this one is B? Talk to each other real quick, 30 seconds, go.
It's
Because that's where everything.
And then 8 over 8 is a whole other show. But that's what I didn't get, because I was like, how many get?
No, but the first one.
But I know, yeah.
All right, why do you think they chose question B even though some of the other choices show some of his errors? Yes. Yeah, go for it.
Gabby, go.
It doesn't matter which.
Okay. I think they chose B because that's the first mistake he made, and that's what threw him off.
That's it. That's it. They wanted to see where was the very first mistake. Because on the very first mistake, didn't it throw everything else off?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what you want to be looking at this. So in an error analysis, we're going to do the work first. Then we're going to go back, reread the question, and see where did they make the first mistake according to the choices they gave us in order to see how we can get better at it. Should we have gone that percentage on this question? We shouldn't have gone the percentage on this question. So think to yourself, because I think Ms. Shim also gave you your thinking paper back. Did you get this question right? Did you get it wrong? What kind of mistake did you make? And hopefully you wrote it down, some of you.
Oh, I know what I did. I know what I did. I At first, I chose so I just multiplied 3 times.
Did you get it right?
So then I said,
Oh, you don't know. Oh, man. Some of you didn't write it down. Do you wish you wrote it down on your thinking paper now? Yeah, your thinking paper is that. We want to value, it's no longer called scratch paper. Why would we call it scratch paper when it's your beautiful thinking that you did on this test? We don't want to call it that. That's why Ms. Shim kept them and wanted to keep them, because then that way you see your thinking. You learn from your thinking, right? So we don't want to call it that. So next time on the test, I suggest you take your time and actually write some of this stuff down. It does help you, trust me. I know of no mathematician that can actually do that. We can do easy problems, 5 plus 2, but can't you? Yeah, but when it comes to a state test like this, we want you to be aware that it is serious. And we want you to do well. Okay? Cool. Question number 4. Good advice? Error analysis? Yeah? Good. Question number 5. You become the teacher. So question number 5, you're going to look at that problem and you're going to tell me, because this is what I do with Ms. Shim and Ms. Patafora and everybody in the math department. I say, hey guys, can you tell me why your students got this wrong? So that's what I'm asking you guys. Hey guys, why do you think the students got this wrong? So looking at that question, try to figure out the answer. Look at your thinking paper. And then in about 2 minutes, I'm going to ask my teachers, which are you guys, where do you think the students made a mistake? Think of 2 things that they might have done wrong on this one. If you can come up with more, good for you. Ready? 4 minutes. Go for it.
But we didn't learn that back then. So actually the equation of the line, so this is the problem of the line. So as x will be y.
This is the point. Yeah, this is the point, and it's
So it's 16. Because the number has to be 0, and then it's 16. So that's where it is. Oh no, sorry,
it would
it's
be 0.
Yeah.
Zero.
It would be 0.
Because
It
that's
starts.
where
Oh yeah.
and that's where it is.
Zero.
No, it would be 0 if you have y equals 2 like that. 3 would be 4, right? But if it doesn't have like a starting point number, it would just
Yeah, so I'm so tempted to write on this.
Wait, no. Yes, it was.
And it goes up by 4.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. 8 and then 2. 8, 2.
No, that's not a point. Oh, yeah, that is a point.
8, 2. No,
that is a point.
that is a point. So you go up 8, so that's the rise, and then 2 is the run. So it's 8 over 2 the slope. 8 over. Oh yeah. Can we write?
You can't write on it, but you can use a whiteboard if you want with a pencil marker.
We need just one word.
I just one.
You guys should do I just found out something. And I apologize, because I thought, I always go back to my algebra students, so please forgive me. I just learned that you guys are barely learning how to do slope-intercept form and rate of change and all that, right? So I'm going to give you the answer to this one. Oh, you don't want me to? You want to struggle a little bit more?
Yeah.
Okay, struggle. Oh, Michaels, you made me so happy right now. I'm going to cry. Please don't get this on video. Anyways, can you do me a favor? Can you struggle a little bit more? But if you want me to go over it and show you what the answer is, I will. Okay? And then we'll talk. Go for it. Go.
8 over 4, and then it starts at 0, 0.
Why is your substitute 0?
No, that's what I'm saying. Because it starts at 0.
Maybe we can try to lay out. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Oh, yeah.
you messed
If that was open, yeah, that was open.
So this would be your replacement.
Why did you have that?
Yeah, because then you don't know the starting point.
So it could be either
Because then
or.
they wouldn't know what it is. They wouldn't know the starting point.
So either or.
It's the same exact thing.
8 over 2 is equal to 12.
What else is 8 of 8 over 2. Wait. Yeah, it is.
So
That's true.
So that would be wrong.
No,
Either-
so it would just be 8 over 2x.
because it always has to be like that. Because you have to see the you have to see
It was
the
4 over 4. You could have done
you have to see the pattern to it. So 4, like you'll get more confused. Like if you just say 4, so I didn't. So you just go 4 up and then 4 to the
No, but that would
side.
be wrong because it's
No, that's what I'm saying.
it
Yeah.
has to be the same rise and rise.
Yeah. Cause I'll get confused because if it was 4x, would have been 4 over 1, wouldn't it?
No, yeah.
So that wouldn't be the same thing as 8 over 2.
Yeah, so that would be
Sometimes I get confused with that.
They write down why you
Yeah, that's what we're doing with the project, the glass window, yeah. Yeah, back then I didn't even know. Like,
Yeah, I didn't learn this till now, so now that I can see it, I like understand.
I didn't even write it down. That's why.
I wrote it down.
I didn't know what to write. That's how like I was like so confused.
I put numbers. I put numbers are very close.
I didn't know, so I didn't even write it down because I didn't know what to write. That's the problem.
I think it was like really hard to understand at the time, just because like when I thought of it, when I looked at this line, I was just thinking of coordinate plane.
Yeah,
And I
exactly.
was just
Yeah.
thinking, wait, how are we gonna turn this into
I didn't even know because I didn't know like I didn't know what was FX. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't know what Z was or Y intercept, so now that I know that, and I don't have to use a graphic now.
Oh yeah, true.
Because I can use it in a graph because I didn't use it.
So it starts right there, so then you go 4. I'm sorry, it's 8 over.
Yeah, we already got it.
4 and 8. So, alright. Goes in.
Maybe it's
You know what? When it's like that, I get confused like that. So I don't know if I should draw a coordinate plane or like that. 'Cause I don't know why.
like certain equations pass like the negative right there, and then some of them are just the positive symbol. So I don't think that will work. So I would just like
You have to really think about it sometimes, but like
And they forgot to write.
you have to go slow and I like
Yeah, I just don't like writing them down. Like,
Exactly,
really
yeah.
stopping and it goes
I just feel like we don't like pay attention too much on the problem.
yeah, you don't you read it, but then you don't really focus on it as much.
Because you're like focusing on the other.
Yeah.
I really like when I look at the category and it's trying to see like if it's asking us what we're supposed to fix.
Exactly.
I feel like the first instinct we have is just to like try to solve the problem.
Yeah.
Wait, although this is 20.
Oh yeah, 20 and then 24.
Because we're so bad.
You should really have to think about it. It takes time. Because I think we just like
that, we just didn't know how to do it.
exactly.
Yeah, I just feel like it's easier to know. It's
I don't do anything. I just want to watch.
I did. I know. Yes, you
So 4x wouldn't be the answer, right? Because it's if it's slow.
Yeah, because
That'll be 4 over 1. Yeah.
because it would be rise.
And then
Right over.
only if it was like only if this was like 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, because that was, no,
And sometimes I get confused. Like I always think it's like 1, 2, or like 2, 4, something like that. Instead of like how it skips numbers. So I get like confused and I write like ridiculous. Yeah. Cause I just do it like anything like fast, and then I just like.
Yeah, because it would have been like 1, 2.
Exactly, yeah.
And then I like when I was like you start over like 6, 8, and then when it changes, I'm like 4, 8. So that I always do like this there.
What's up, guys? Talk to me.
So I feel like
We didn't know how to do
we didn't know how to do it, so we like were just making graphs and we didn't
Okay,
understand.
so what's my answer now that I do know how to do it? What do you
Y
think?
equals 8 over 2.
Can I simplify that?
Yeah, you can. Wait, can you do it like to 4x? 2 go into 8. 4 1 that's 0. But the problem is, if you look at that, you gotta mix 2 4 so 1. But that's not the same thing.
Because then you would have to go half.
So you want to simplify it to y equals x, yeah?
Yeah. But we thought we can't do that because it's go 4, but then there's no 1, so it's like half of it, but then it'll be like half right here. So we thought it wouldn't make
It doesn't make sense to you. I see what you're saying.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
It'll be
Wait. 4 over 1. That
it'll be the same thing. It'll be the same thing. Like
It would be
it's
the same thing. If I do the 4 is here, because the M point hits the...
1, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so now let's answer this question. 80% of my algebra students said that this was So the teacher wants what do you think happened? Why did they say it was 2x?
it's wrong. Okay.
What did they do?
It would have been.
Then maybe they try to simplify it again.
They simplified it. So they're not like that. They won't simplify it because they know that 8 over 2 is 4 over 1. What do you think as a teacher they did? Keep looking at it. Keep looking at the picture and see what you think they did.
Oh wait.
I feel like they kind of try to simplify, but that doesn't make sense because you can't simplify that.
Okay, so you'll see. I'll show you why they got 2 over x, and then you're gonna go, what? And some people did it, actually. Alright, so let's talk about this.
So just seem
Yeah, you know what the problem is wrong.
Ready? So I'm gonna.
because they couldn't do that because it's gonna be
Okay, your thinking is beautiful. And I apologize because I treated you like you were the algebra students that actually did this. And some of you are saying, well, now I know how to do it. Now I know how to do it, so we did it. So you all did beautiful because I saw some of the whiteboards had this slope-intercept form equation. Yes? Yes. Cool, right? And then you guys said, well, this is my starting point. Cool? So then you looked at your line and you went, well, the starting point starts at?
0.
0. So you did beautiful, you guys. You said this was 0.
Yep.
Yeah? All right. And then I heard some good conversations where you said m is equal to, I'm going to get the change in the y's, which you guys call rice, because I'm rising along the y-axis, over the run, because I'm walking along the x. You did beautiful. You said, hey, so we looked at it, Ms. Garcia, and we took that point, and then we raced it to this point where it crosses. You didn't go to that point because that created some issues for you. So you wanted to go to a point that crossed all of the different graph areas, right? So here's your point, and then you did this. You said, well, I rose to number 8, and as I rose to number 8, I wrote the number 8. Everybody still with me?
Yes.
Good. And then you said, well, then I ran. And I ran along the x-axis, and I ran this way. And then you looked, and you ran how much? 2. So you had a slope that looked like that. Can I simplify this?
Yes.
What can I simplify it to?
4 over 1.
Thank you. You did it. So then my new equation becomes 4 over 1 x. Or is this equivalent as well? 4x.
Yes.
So you got the answer. That was beautiful. You did wonderful when you did this. Now tell me something, and I wrote this wrong on a couple of whiteboards. 80% of the algebra students got this one wrong. They did this, ready? They said that the answer was this.
So then it's.
It's not.
They said that the answer was this. So now I want my teacher mode. Where do you think they got the 2x from? Sir?
Just the unit, like from the dots themselves instead of the labels.
So I see what you're saying. Do you see that this is not labeled by ones?
Yeah.
Look at it. It's labeled 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Is this labeled by ones?
No.
Nope. Guess where they got the 2 over 1? They didn't look at the axes and how they were graphed. They saw 2 squares here and 1 square here, and they got 2 over 1.
Oh.
This is an incredibly simple problem for algebra students. But 80% of them got it wrong and put 2 over 1. What did they not notice?
The numbers.
The numbers. So on these problems, should you be going fast?
No.
No, you should never be going fast. Should you be paying attention to detail?
Yes.
Yeah, you should definitely be paying attention to detail, because somebody in the back was incredibly honest. Someone in the back said, you know, I didn't even notice that. And that's what the 80% algebra students said. I didn't even notice that. I just kind of went fast. I knew what this was. See, that's how they are. They think they're too smart for this. And then they do silly mistakes like this. I didn't even notice that. That's the answer. No, it isn't. And you should have seen them when I went over this test and I said, how in the world can my algebra students get this? And they're all like, oh. Now, mind you, 60% of them got above or above standard on the first one. When we did this with them, on the second IAB, 90% of them got above standard. So they took my advice and started looking at attention to detail. You know what the second mistake was with this one? That people were, some of them did get 4x, like you guys, but then on the directions, it tells you to input it like this. You know what other people did? This. Or this.
Oh.
Or just this. If the question is asking you to input this whole entire thing, look at the question it's asking you. Write it in y equals mx plus b, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If you just put this or this, it doesn't matter. It's wrong. Even though you got it, even though you said it, slope is 4. Yes, we can write it like this. But if you don't put the whole equation, that's what they wrote wrong.
Would it?
Yes, ma'am.
How is 4 over 1 the answer? Because if you rise 4 and then you try to go over.
You're not rising 4 though. You're rising 8. Look at your axes. You're rising 8 times.
You just simplified it.
We're simplifying. We rose 8 and crossed 2. That's why we're telling you gotta be careful with these numbers. Look, we rose 2 little squares, you're right, but each little square is worth 4 points. Make sense? Yeah. That's what they did. Good. Talk to your neighbor. What did you take away from this? Go.
Okay. So I need to pay more attention to this because I really didn't notice much about this part because I was just thinking it was 2, 4, 6, 8 for this part. So then
Because I thought it would be the same. It would be kind of the same thing, like 2, 4, 6, 8 and 2, 4, 6, 8. But these are two different ones.
they're 2 different values to math. So we have to
Because sometimes I get confused, like I switch it around, but like that's when I go like really fast. But I have to like pay attention. But that's I think the problem like, with all of us that like, for most of us that we don't focus on like the important, not important, but like the little detail that you don't focus on. You just look at the central thing, and then you just like, oh, okay, that's 2, 4, 6, so it's the same thing. You write it the same thing. You just go too fast.
we want to get to the answer too fast. And
Yeah.
steps.
And then when we write it down,
I
we
like
get
some
lost.
of you saying, some of us are saying, well, I want to rush, I want to be the first one done.
2.
What's your rush? On the state test, you have forever. About 2 years ago, I had one student take 2 weeks to finish it. Got a perfect score. He got a 2802, but it took him 2 weeks. The way I process things is different from the way you process. If I take longer, is that all right?
Yes.
Yeah. Why judge, right? So on the next one, should you take your time?
Yes.
Should you pay attention to detail? Yeah. All right. I want you to go teacher mode this time. Not even look at the problem. So turn the page, go to number 6, teacher mode. Don't even look at the problem. Just read the directions. Where do you think the students make a mistake? Talk to each other. Go. Attention to detail.
I wrote number 6 down.
By 2. And also, I think that one has a negative in front of
I
it.
can't read that. Is that
And
an 8?
they didn't have a negative
Or
this one.
Can I just say, if I'm reading this
And
on a
also,
test
these are
or something
super
like that,
easy
I'm
numbers
probably
to
gonna
like
pick one
figure out.
answer because knowing me,
look, I'll just guess what and then like actually like try.
and then when I look at this, I'm just like, it meant all of them. It just meant the ones that you think.
I see which ones look like similar and then I calculate it. And then if it's like a different answer, then I just like get rid of one and then stick like with one. I like just with one like that looks like it's correct, but like I'm not 100% sure that it's like.
If it's like 1/4 and there's another answer that's like 1/2, then I'll do the math for one of them, and if it's not that one, I'll do the other
Exactly.
one. You need to add it. I don't want to do the math.
Okay, some of you went math mode. You shouldn't have gone math mode. Don't do math mode. If you were a teacher and I asked you, just read the instructions. And I said, don't look at the math. Don't try to solve the problem. Look at just that. And I tell you that your class got 20%, only 20% of your students got it right, which is maybe 3 or 4 students, and the rest of them got it wrong.
Oh.
Teacher mode. Just reading the directions. Where do you think they made the mistake? Sir? What? What do you mean all? Select all. Do you think they selected all of the answers? No. Nope. Nope. And if you don't select all the answers, there goes the problem. The whole problem's wrong. It doesn't matter if you select one of the right answers. If you don't select them all, you got it wrong.
But why?
Why not? You're not following instructions.
But at least you got one wrong. Shouldn't you get at least half credit? Like.
So do you see where this test goes?
Yes.
So unless you're paying attention to detail, you will get it wrong. So now, take about another minute and try to solve it and see which ones were all, even though we marked the right answers for you. Try to see how we got those answers, okay? Go. Okay.
Oh, yeah. So this is the 2 negative 3.
And then they multiply
Times 2
they multiply these instead of adding these.
So first thing I do here when it's like multiplying, you're supposed to add those 2. So negative 2 plus 4 equals 1.
Oh, you add it?
I don't even know what that was.
Wait, 2 over 1, that would be 2, right?
Oh, so no matter what, you have to add exponents together?
So when it's multiplying and it has the same base number,
Yeah.
you're gonna basically add the exponent.
Like, and if it was division, you would subtract.
And it feels like different base numbers? What do you do then?
Well, then I do is I put it into standard form.
Yeah, you would standard form because this, if you
So if it, let's just say if this was 4 and then to the power negative 3, wouldn't it be a decimal?
or you multiply these
No, negative 3.
Yeah, you go to the left.
it's just equal.
Yeah.
You go to the left.
Yeah.
So wouldn't you go that way? And then
So it would be, okay, so
Point 002.
yeah, times negative 2, that would get negative 8. If you add
2 to the negative 3 power into 7 is 0.002.
Yeah, that's what I point 002. Oh, I made a mistake.
Wait, and then after we basically like.
Oh, I went 1 over. I know what I did. I went 1, 2, and 3. I didn't start from the right side, so I started from right here, from the other side. I should have started from right here. So then I had 3 zeros now, so I had .0002.
Oh, because you started at
Yeah.
Wait, okay, so now that we're in negative 3 plus 1, you have to to the first power. over in parentheses, and then this is multiplying this time because it's in parentheses. So when you have something on the outside, it means you have to multiply it. So 1 times -2 is -2. 2 negative
This
Why'd
one.
you oh, you have to multiply the exponent?
Yeah, when it has
So you can't multiply the base?
Oh, because it doesn't.
no, because it doesn't have a base here, just for the exponents that you're supposed to multiply.
Because you can't multiply the
Yeah, and if you have like if you don't have a 1 here and you still have a -2, you can just press
Because it's just 1 year. Okay. So then you multiply those. So you never multiply the base.
Okay, so
When it's like that.
I love
But
your
when it's like
energy.
that,
I love that you're solving the problem, but I'm gonna go really quick on it because the period's almost going to end, and then you'll see if you can solve it like this. This problem can be solved in multiple ways, guys. But did anybody do the distribution property?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it all right if I do the distribution property?
Yes.
Okay, so look at your work. Even if you're a little confused, Ms. Chim can go over this problem a little bit more in detail with you. Okay? So if I distribute, watch. So I hope you're paying attention, especially if you're confuzzled. Is that what you said? Confuzzled. So I'm going to distribute this one here. Yeah? So then I get 2. And then I think to myself, what's -3 times -2?
Opposite.
Oh, you're awesome.
Kind of.
All right, so I do the same thing with the 4. I distribute this one here, and I get
-8.
Oh, you guys are great. Look, you got it. Okay, according to exponent rules, if my bases are the same and I'm multiplying, what do I do to the exponents?
Add.
I add them, right? But in this case, I'm subtracting because they're opposite signs, right? So then I go 6 minus 8 gives me
-2.
2 to the
-2.
to the -2. Okay, but this doesn't look anything like the answers that are up there, does it? However, one of them does. Do you see this one right here?
Yep. Yes.
It's this one.
Yep.
Yeah? So would that have been one of our selections? Yes. Do you see how slow I'm doing this, math? You should even be going slower. Because I have 40 years of math experience, not you guys. So if it's taking me this long to do it, should you be going this slow?
Yes.
Or way slower, taking time. There's my first one, there's my first choice. And then that's what some kids did. They didn't pay attention to the all, and they selected that one, and then that was it. That's all they did. But they're trying to see if you remember your exponent rules. If the exponent is negative, something happens.
Oh.
Yes, Ben?
You can like change it from denominator to denominator.
It actually turns into a very small number,
Decimal.
which is a fraction. So it turns into this, 2 to the second power. That's another rule. And then we go like this, 1. What's 2 to the second power? 4. Ooh.
That makes sense.
Magic? No, math.
Look. So if it's like this, remember the roll there? Oh, that's cool.
It's like, oh my gosh, magic. No, not really.
Wait, did you guys have the same quiz?
All right, so, yes, sir, in the back.
You could also get so you guys 1/4 by doing by getting the 2 to the -2 by doing the stuff inside the parentheses.
Yeah, yep, you're right. Remember what I told you at the beginning? You can actually solve this multiple ways. He's right. I can simplify the inside first. -3 plus 4 gives me 2 to the 1. Yeah? And then what I do is I bring this guy back. 2 to the -2.
Oh.
Oh my God.
I'm learning.
And we approach math problems in different ways.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is no longer when I was going to school, it was whatever the teacher said. No. Now it's whatever works for my brain. Got it? All right. So now you're going again, taking advice. I gotta look for a calculator. I gotta pay attention to detail. I gotta slow down. Yeah? I gotta read the directions on the question. What would you do on problem 13? Solve 13 for me as a group. Go.
Okay, so first you set up this because it takes you to read the question. I read it.
Okay, so that's 14.
What are like keywords that will tell you to slow down?
That one's not it. Because this is 10x. So it's not number 1.
And x.
Wait, hold on. She said to go slow.
So plus 6. So equals 14 x plus 6.
So that's already no, because that's no solution.
6. And then next one.
3.
C. X minus 5. 2 plus 6. Minus x. Minus x. Oh, parentheses 9 minus 2.
No, equals sign?
It's in the question.
No, 6.
Sorry guys, the number in between the 6 and the other one is an equal sign.
Oh, so that's the 6 right there. I mean, that equals.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's how I was getting confused.
So we already know that it's
Yeah,
not.
because it says equations right there. So.
That's
This is a negative sign right here, so we can change this to negative 9.
Should always start from the left.
You can want to, but when talking about distributive property, it has 2 sides anyway. We do x minus 9 here, and then negative. This will turn into a positive, right? Yeah.
Why'd you the x minus?
No, it's not.
You just wrote the same thing.
No, you distributed the negative to the 9 because that was a positive 9. You distribute
Oh,
Now
okay.
to the
negative
negative 9, and then you distribute to the.
Yeah, okay. I didn't see it.
And then since we're here already, this is a positive x, and this is another positive x, so we can do this to 3x. So we can do 3x minus 9.
Plus 6. Negative 15 plus
The other side.
or here.
So this would be
3x and 15
This
plus
would be
3x minus 15
Yeah.
or negative 15.
Plus 6. Negative 15.
You would also
I love teamwork.
Negative 9, right?
Yeah, negative.
So that'll be a minus.
3x minus 9. 3x minus 9. So that's the minus.
So that's so number 2 is correct.
And
Yeah, so
then next is
2 plus 5x minus 9. Oh. Minus 9 equals 3x plus 2. And then parentheses and then x minus 9.
Okay, so first we'll distribute the.
So 2x and negative minus 14.
If I add these together, so that would be.
11.
But then it's still one of the.
Oh yeah, negative 7.
No.
7. Negative 7 plus 5x.
And you can add these together.
Can I ask you number 1 a selection? Yes or no?
No.
Okay, keep going.
Okay, so
Okay, next one is 4x.
So I'm pretty sure the last one is correct. It says select all.
We need to check just in case, because you never know.
It can't just be one, so it's saying select all.
It could be sometimes.
Well, that wouldn't really make sense, but I guess.
That's why they could throw you off. Like
Yeah,
it'd be like, oh, and they won't do that work. So then
exactly. But then I'll choose a different.
Where's your equal sign go? So, negative 4. Yeah, that's what I was
They put 12x negative 15.
Yeah.
And then you gotta add plus 2. You gotta write the x. You gotta write the x right
Yeah.
there. That's, so it'll be 16. I mean, sorry, 20.
Negative 16.
Negative 16.
wait, relax.
See,
Slow
this is
down,
why-
slow down, slow down.
Slow down. This is why we're not rushing here, Eric.
I like brush.
12x minus 16, I believe, right?
So,
Oh, you can also change it to negative 16 plus. Yeah. So, this would be another one. So it is B and D. First B.
What do you think, number 2?
Yes.
All right, so just real quick, just because we're running out of time, guys, just real quick. This is where people make the mistake. Look, that minus. They didn't distribute that minus. So one of the tricks I show students is to put the invisible one, because technically there is a 1 there. Boom. And then you know to distribute that -1 times 9, and then it'll give you the answer. So you're absolutely right. Are we done though?
No.
We got 2 more to check. Do you see how much work some of these questions take? Again, should we be rushing through this test? Good. Just because we're running out of time, does 3 work? No. 4 does work. But 4 took a little bit longer because we had to distribute twice. So do you see all this process? We just did 6 problems. It took us 85 minutes to do. It took us 85 minutes to do because the bell's going to ring in about 10 minutes. It took us 85 minutes to do this problem and analyze it. So we're hoping that this actually helped you. And now you understand how important these tests are, how important your scores are, how your goal should be 2802. That's the magic number, 2802, trust me. 15 algebra students got it last year. 2802.
Wow.
Let's get some more in there, guys. Let's do this. One thing before you leave, I got one more thing for you to do. Miss Jim's going to give you a sticky note. On the sticky note, I would love your name on it just because I want to get to know you a little bit more. And then I want you to write one thing. Actually, I want you to write 2 things. Let me see how I get to the last slide. There you go. On your sticky note, write either one of these, please.
Miss Garcia.
Oh, thank you, sir. I want you to write one of these things, or if you have an answer for both of them, I would love you forever. Watch. Here's what I want. You don't have to start cleaning up right now because we have plenty of time. I want you to put this on the sticky note. There's still about 10 minutes left. Your beautiful name on the sticky note because I want to get to know you again. And then the answer to both of these questions or one of them, you choose. What did you like about this process of going over your test? What did you like? Is something clarified? Because since 6th grade, you've been taking these tests. And I don't think anybody has ever done this with you. So think about it. Did you like it this time? What did you like? And then the second one, what is one thing you will do different on the next test? That you said, oh, yeah, I got to do this. Got it? Please take about 5 minutes to do this. That's it. And then when you're done, if you can stick them on that whiteboard in the back where it says Wave of Confidence, that would be amazing, please, so I can read them.
Yeah, it'd be like a single score, like that. Yeah? Yeah.
So what would the equation look like in your idea out there?
Like single score. Emily. She's like, yeah, that was a good question. Yes.
So are the zeros just the ones that go in a straight line?
Yeah, so 0 goes the other way. And instead of it being x equals